Hey everyone, if you're watching this video, that means it has been 7 days exactly since I posted my last video, and I want to challenge myself to be posting a new video every week. So once again, I'm the code cracking, and I'm going to be doing coding and programming tutorials. For those of you that watched my previous video, that was just the introduction to web development, and I said that in my next video I'm going to be doing HTML tutorials. It's going to be continuous, obviously, because HTML is quite broad and you do not want to just quickly cram everything. So this is actually the first part of the HTML tutorial. So I'll just say maybe I'll call this HTML tutorial part 1. And in this video we're actually going to be writing codes. In the last video we didn't write any code, we just talked about what web development is, and that's it. So before we begin, I want to emphasize that this is for beginners, people that have not written a line of HTML before, people that want to start web development, and just basically for beginners. And there's not going to be any CSS in this video. I'm not going to go over what CSS is. In my previous video I did that. We will focus on HTML5, which is the current version of HTML, the most current version of HTML. We're going to be looking at some slides and examples as we're doing now, and I urge you guys to be patient because people usually get agitated at videos that are usually over 25 minutes long, but you're not going to learn anything if you can't sit to watch a 1 hour video, and not one video that's just talking nonsense, a 1 hour video that's actually going to help you. So in my previous video I also talked about what HTML is, but I'm just gonna go over that again. HTML is an acronym which stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is not a programming language, it's a markup language. I also emphasized on that in my previous video. So if you guys haven't watched my previous video, I advise you to go and watch that before actually watching this, so that you guys can have an understanding of what we're doing here. And the link to that video is going to be in my description. I'll put that in my description. So you click the link and watch the video. Please like, please subscribe. So let's go on. HTML is used to structure and define the content of a web page. It is the building block of every of the web, because any single website you see, whether how beautiful it is, how complex it is, it has HTML in it, and HTML is the building block. You can't create a web without actually having HTML. And HTML goes along with CSS and JavaScript in creating web pages. And there are other things involved like your React and AngularJS, some other stuff involved. But we're going to be focusing on HTML only for now. And we'll move to CSS and progress further. So I talked about text editors and web browsers. I'm not going to go over the explanation again. I don't want to waste too much time here. So examples of text editors we have are Notepad++, Sublime Text, TextMate, Visual Studio Code, Atom, and Komodo Edit. So like I said also in my previous video, I said I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code because I just like the user interface. It's quite easy to use, and I also have Sublime Text. I also make use of Sublime Text once in a while, but I prefer Visual Studio Code because there's some things that Visual Studio Code can do, Sublime can't. You have to be more specific. For web browsers, we have Google, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, and Safari. And I'm going to be making use of Microsoft Edge because that's just simply my default browser. So creating a HTML file, it does not need a server. You don't actually have to upload it to the internet. It's when you want to make an income as a web developer, you start uploading your webs to the internet, to Google, to Chrome, to all those search engines or web browsers. So you can actually just create a HTML file without having to put it on a server. And files must end with the .html extension. Why do I keep saying XTML? XTML is actually a version of HTML. So .html is just telling your browser that, okay, this is a HTML file, read it as an HTML file, not anything else. And HTML runs on a web browser such as Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, as I said earlier. And index.html is the root or home page of a website. So every website should have an index.html ending, like it just ends with index html. So in HTML, for you to actually code, you have to follow some specific rules, and there's actually the right way of doing things and there's the wrong way, and I'm a pretty big fan of doing things the right way. So the right way is for you to actually have tags and syntax. We'll just read this out and explain it. HTML tags and syntax structure web pages with tags enclosed in angled brackets, such as this tag, that's the p tag, and we're gonna go through all of pretty much most of the HTML tags. So the p tags, these are angled brackets or your less than and greater than. So elements. An HTML element is composed of an opening tag, a content, and a closing tag. The opening tag starts with an angled bracket, the element name, and ends with a closing angled bracket. And another, this is just the same example we have here. So this is the angle bracket to open it, the element, and the ending bracket, not the closing bracket. So people usually take this as the closing tag. It's not. This isn't called the closing tag. It's called just the closing bracket of the opening tag. In your elements, you want to have some content in it. That's the text or other elements which are going to be contained within the element. So you're going to pretty much have an HTML tag, some writing in, some content in it, and a closing tag. The closing tag is similar to the opening tag, but with a forward slash before the element name. Here we have here. So this entire stuff is actually called the closing tag, not just this single bracket. And we have something called self-closing tags. So tags like img, that's short for image, and br, that's break, are self-closing tags, meaning they don't require a closing tag. So these tags, you see that there's no opening and a slash like these ones. We're gonna see a lot of those tags. Okay, they're not really a lot because the closing tags, the elements that have closing tags are more than this, and there are exactly 145 tags in HTML5. And I said HTML5 is the most current version of HTML, and that's what we're going to work in it. And I'm not trying to say it's not possible to memorize the entire 145 tags. It's actually quite possible because your brain remembers what you want it to remember. So, but for the sake of this video and for the sake of my audience being the beginners, we'll only be using like plus or minus 50 tags. So this right there, this image right here is called the HTML basic structure, and every single HTML file, HTML folder you want to create has to have this structure as the beginning. So we have a doc type HTML, which is short for document type, and this is actually used in HTML5, telling your web browser, okay, this is a HTML5 file, read it as an HTML5. You're gonna have HTML5 telling your web browser, sorry, HTML telling your web browser this isn't JavaScript, isn't CSS, it's HTML. And we have the head, and in your head you're gonna not in your head, in the head you're gonna have an element called title, and the title goes here and it's a closing star. So title is not a self closing tag, but doc.html is. And you close the head, you have body, the web page content goes inside the body, you close the body, and you finally close your HTML tag. So let's not actually talk too much, let's actually go into the coding and we'll actually see all those tags and more in action. Okay, so right here, this is just pretty much my desktop. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new folder. You don't have to do this, so just creating this. I'll just call this HTML tutorial. Just pretty much HTML tutorial, and I'm just gonna keep this, just hover it, just pretty much here. So like I said earlier, I actually have Sublime Text, but I want us to use Visual Studio Code, which is it's pretty much easier to use Visual Studio Code. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open your Visual Studio Code, your text editor, whatever, and the link to download Visual Studio Code is going to be also in my description, so you can click on that link if you want to use Visual Studio Code like me. So when you open your Visual Studio Code, you're gonna see a welcome profile just like this, and you can choose whether you want it to show you or not. I'll just pretty much just leave it as show welcome page. So I'm gonna create a new file. I'm not gonna actually click new file because if I do that, you're gonna start talking a lot of grammar in here. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl+N, and that'll open a new file for me. So following the rules of HTML, first of all, we're gonna write our basic HTML structure. So that goes in doc type, and your doc type has to be all capital letter, and HTML following it will be in upper lowercase. So doc type HTML, HTML head. And for Visual Studio Code, there's a simpler way to do this so that you don't have to be pressing shift comma shift full stop. You can actually just write title and just click tab, and it's automatically opening and close it for you. So we need to save this, and I'm going to be saving it to the HTML tutorial file. And following the rules of HTML, we're gonna have to save it as index.html. So this .html extension is pretty much important, because if you don't put it, it's not going to read it as an HTML file. So we just save that, and I'm going to minimize this, and I go to HTML tutorial, and I see it's index. So I open this. It's using Microsoft Edge to open this because this is my default browser. Whatever browser you're using is actually fine. It's just going to give the same results. So I just want to put this at the sideline. Okay, yeah. So we can split our screen. And for the title, this is pretty much the first set of tags we're going to be talking about, and this is called structured tags. So the title is just pretty much what you see on the tab of any website. So we'll just call our title HTML tutorial. Okay, and then the last structure tag is our body, so I'll just say body tag. Okay, so we're gonna write a lot of tags in here, so you just want to leave this gap in between. The tags we have for today are actually they are arranged in alphabetical order, like A, B, C. And we're gonna start with the first tag on our list, and the first tag on our list is called the abbreviation tag. It was formerly known as the acronym tag, but they just pretty much just removed it. It's not more valid in HTML5. It's now called the excuse me. It's now called the abbreviation tag. So for the abbreviation tag, I advise you have a notebook with you so that you can jot down these tags, or you just pretty much download the video so you can watch it over and over again. So our every tag, we're gonna have an opening bracket, ABBR, and closing bracket. So abbreviation tag is not a self-closing tag. So if we save this and we reload it on our web browser, only thing that's going to change is HTML tutorial, which is the title we gave it. Nothing is going to be in the content because we have not actually written anything. So you're not just going to write the abbreviation tag like this. It has to have something with it. So I will cut this out, and I'm going to write something like the okay, I'll just think of, let me just see. Okay, the world not specific for me, so WHO. The WHO is awesome. Yeah, I'll just pretty much say WHO is awesome. And if we save and reload that, even without any tags, it's gonna show here because we have that this is part of our body. The WHO is awesome, and we know that WHO is an abbreviation for World Health Organization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove WHO and put back our abbreviation tag. And to do this correctly, we're going to give it a title of World Health Organization. So we have World Health Organization. So we have World Health Organization, and if we save and reload this, it's gonna say the something is just the blank is awesome. And we said now we're gonna put the WHO in the middle of the abbreviation tags. So when we do that, we're gonna have WHO. And now if we save and reload, we see that WHO is given those dotted brackets. If we hover over WHO, we give it the full meaning, which is World Health Organization. So that's the first tag, abbreviation tag. So This tag is not supposed to be here because it's not following it in the alphabetical order, but I'm just gonna do it. I'll cut this out and I'll show you guys. Okay, let me take everything along with it. So I'll cut this out and I'm going to show you the next tag. And this is a tag called comment tag, and it doesn't actually display in your web browser. It's used for making notes. And since I'm doing a video, I actually want to be leaving a lot of notes. So to do the comment tag, you're gonna have to do an angled bracket, exclamation mark, 4 dots. Okay, it's actually completed for me, and I'm just gonna call this is a comment. And if I save that and reload, it's not going to show here because it doesn't display like I said earlier. So this is a comment tag. I'm going to be using pretty much a lot of comment tags to make notes to show you guys the different tags. So I'll change this from this is a comment to this is the abbreviation tag. Yeah, that's just pretty much it. This is the abbreviation tag, and I'm going to paste that. Oh, I copied it, so we actually have to write that again. Sorry, I copied something else. I'm gonna write a PB abbreviation, give it a title of World Health and Organization. And I'll just put this back. WHO. I actually like calling this the Who is awesome. So if we save and reload, we're gonna see that here. And the next tag I want to do is also not in alphabetic order. That's a line breaker tag. So what I want to do is I just want there to be a demarcation here, and for that is another tag we're going to talk about, but it's not putting it in chronological order like the way I wanted to. This was a mistake. So I say I'll give it another comment. You don't actually have to be writing the comment. I'm just doing this because of note taking. Horizontal line tag, and I'm just gonna say, so for the horizontal line tag, it's just pretty much just saying HR, and if we press tab and we save and reload, you see that there's a horizontal line here. So let's continue putting our tags in chronological order. The next tag is the address tag, and as the name implies, it's actually for leaving contact info for people. So we're gonna say address. Okay, comments. I have to be commenting every single time because of note taking. So I'm not gonna write in this. I'll just say address tag. Address tag, so that we won't waste much time. And the address tag, you actually have to write address in full. So we say address, and it gives us this Emmet abbreviation. That means it's actually a correct tag. And I'm just gonna give a fake address. Just say visit us at just see webmaster. Webmaster.com, and oh, it gave me that this no, this isn't what I want. Webmaster.com. So sorry, to press enter. This is supposed to be, but I don't want it. Just give that gap. Yeah, webmaster.com, and I'll say box 540 64. I'm just picking random numbers. I say Disneyland. and I'll just say USA, USA, USA. I'll just say USA. So I can actually put this in an abbreviation tag. The USA stands for United States of America, but who doesn't know that? I see that it gives us this course. It's a lies format for, so this is just pretty much an address. And there's another tag I have to show you guys so that this doesn't look like this, and that's called the line break tag. So I'll just give another comment here as you see line break tag, break tag. So that's pretty much what I want to do, line break tag. And what a line break does is that it just gives, let it be like I want to push this under, I want to push this under, so that it doesn't just fall in one line. And to do that, I will have to put a BR. So BR tag, what did I do? This is that web, that's just Visual Studio Code for you, just wants to help. So I'll say, open this up and say BR, no, BR tag. That'll give you a line break tag. And BR is a self-closing tag. It doesn't need anything to, doesn't need any forward slash. So if we save that, we see that box 564 and Disneyland came under. So I've put a line break here that, okay, this should go to the next line, not everything should stay on the same line. So also put a line break as should I put others? Okay, pretty much put a line break here, and no, let me take it here. Yeah, so we have visitors at webmaster.com, box 564 Disneyland USA, and I'm going to put another horizontal line tag here. Okay, so the next tag, following it in chronological order but still in A, that's going to be called the anchor tag. So I'll just say this is a line break tag, and I'll just pretty much just say BR. So the anchor tag is also called a link. It serves as a link. So comment this. I don't want this to take too long, so I'm just going to be doing pretty much a lot of copy and paste right here, and I'll just say anchor and anchor tag. So to do the anchor tag is actually very simple. You just have to press A and tab, and that does this for you. So this is simply like a reference. So if you want, you can pause the video and pretty much read what is here, but no, I'm not doing that. So it's pretty much a reference to say take us to so page or a different document. I can actually leave a link here to a different document that's in my system, but I want us to go to, let's just say google.com actually. So we just say https google.com, and when we do that, I can say click here. So you're gonna making use of this a lot, this tag a lot, especially when you're doing a standard website where you have to link a lot of web pages, and we are actually going to do that. So if we reload, we see that this gives us a link, and if we click it, it's I do not have internet connection right now, my internet is down, but if we click it, you see that if you watch carefully, this place actually turns to Google. So we just quickly fast, so it's taking us to Google, but I'm not connected to the internet. But what you don't want the user that when they click it, they leave your site, your page. Right now I'm not more in the web page. To do that, we're gonna have to put target equals to blank, and when we do that, if we click here, it actually opens a different tab for us, so we can switch pretty much between your web page and whatever they want. So that's just that. That's the anchor tag. The next tag on our A list is to import an audio. So I'll put another horizontal line here. I'll say a comment again, and I'll just call this audio tag. Like I said earlier, you don't actually have to be writing these comments. I'm just using for note take. So to do the comment tag, it's sorry, the audio tag rather, what you have to do is type audio and tab, and this stands for source. So it's gonna, like, just the link, you're gonna put an audio source where you, not source for any other, the source, yeah, where you want the website to take you to that audio. So I'm just gonna quickly grab an audio from my system. Okay, I will just switch and I'll just go through this. Yeah, this is pretty much the only audio I actually have. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna press copy. Some systems will actually ask you copy as path. Anyone, whether you want to copy or copy the path, just copy this. And I'm gonna minimize this because we'll come to it later. We're gonna paste. So we see that when we paste it, it tells us where the audio is coming from. That's not all we have to do. We actually have to tell it the type of audio. So if we click here, you're just gonna see the horizontal line, because I've not told it what type of audio it is. And from here we'll see that it's an mp3. So we just give some gap here and say type. We actually have to tell it the audio type, and we say it's an audio, not a video, not an image. Audio slash mp3. And now if we save that and reload, it doesn't still bring the audio. What we have to do now, this is pretty much one thing tricky about audio and visual. Just put your audio and videos. I want to say visual. So to put your audio and videos, sorry, if you put this right, this automatically, it ought to work, but it won't, because we've not actually done something correctly. This is the wrong way of importing a video. So to do it, like I said, the right way, we're gonna close this audio tag, delete this, and we have to say audio controls. So if you follow along, you say audio controls. We take this down a bit, and we're gonna stop closing for me. Thank you, Visual Code. Yeah, Visual Studio Code. Now this is the source, but it doesn't know what it is. So we actually have to tell it that this is a source. So we'll just say thank you, source. And we're gonna leave a space again and write src. So this is actually pretty much the right way to do this. You have to put audio control source src, and then you can write the code, the source, the type, and close it, and it should. I see it's right there, so you can listen to this. Yeah, we're not gonna spend 12 minutes on this. You can choose the playback speed, yeah, and you can choose to mute it or not. So that's pretty much it. So you have to have audio controls, source src, write the source and close it. And the next tag, we're actually finally going to the b tags. So the next tag on the b tag is called the base tag. So another comment, I'll put this here, yeah. Now just call this base tag. And a base tag is also like the anchor tag, it's just that it tells it a specific base URL. So to write the base tag, we're gonna write base. If you're using Visual Studio Code with me, you just press tab. It will tell you href, and we can actually reference it to a different you can reference it to Google, Facebook, or a different, just pretty much anything in your system. And I will just reference this back to Google actually. Yeah, just reference this to Google. And like I said, you don't want them to leave your page, so you can also have target blank. So when we do that, you see that the base tag doesn't actually show, because we actually have to write it with something else, but that's actually going a bit complicated. So I'll just put my horizontal line break here. So it's just pretty much how you write a base tag, and you can't write a base tag with google.com. It has to be a URL of something. And maybe I'll just take the URL of this, but it don't work. So it's not gonna work because this isn't a URL, it's just a link. So just for knowing sake, yeah, this is to link things to a URL only. It doesn't act like the anchor tag where you can link to anything else. So this is just for URLs only. So, and the next tag under B is called a big tag. It's called a big tag. So I'll just say, I'll put another comment and call this big tag. So that's like the name implies. What the big tag does is just simply makes your text, well, big. Yeah. So I'll say big tag. To write a big tag, all you have to write is actually just big. And I said if you're using VS Code, you just press tab, and we're gonna say this text is big. Yeah, this text is big. So we see that this text is actually big. We don't need this. It's actually bigger than this other text which are right here. And there's actually something called the small tag, but we're using alphabetic order to follow this. And the next to do is block quotes. So let's find out what the block quote is. So we say block quotes tag, and a block quote just basically pushes your stuff, just gives it some padding around the side, so it just pushes it a bit. So to do a block quote, you actually have to write block quote, and Visual Studio Code already guessed that for us, so that's what I want, block quotes. And you do not know, I don't have any text to write with me, so if you're using Visual Studio Code with me, you can just say lorem and press tab, and it just gives you some dummy text. I don't know what language this is. This should be French. So it just gives you some dummy text, lorem tab, and you can actually specify the number by writing numbers to actually get it. So we see that this has a bit of padding in it. So when you want to actually give a space, you use the block quote tag, and I'll leave a horizontal line here also. Okay, I want to pick up the pace actually. And next tag is still under B, is called the bold tag, and I believe that we all know what bold actually does. It just makes, well, your text pretty, just makes it bold. So you see bold tag, and to do the bold tag, all you have to do is just press B tab, and it just say bold. So you see this text is bold, and if we get, I don't think I put a horizontal tag on this. So we say horizontal tag, and we say, so we see that this text is actually bold, and that's the bold tag. The next tag is ought to be the break tag, but I've pretty much used that. What did I? Yeah, BR tag. So it just puts a line break, gives some space around it. So, and we're going to C now, and the C is center. So what center does is that it's normally your text, to align it wherever you want it to, you want to use CSS for that, for the styling, but you can actually just choose whether you want it to go to the center. And to do that, you actually have to write center. So I'll put a center right there, and I'll say this text is centered. Yeah, centered, and we say just put a feature here and save that and reload. We see that the text actually moves to the center, and you can change this position wherever you want in your CSS, to the left, to the right, up, down, just pretty much just change it wherever you want. And the next C on our list is called a site tag. So we cut this, copy this, and we post this, and we say call this a site tag. For a site tag, it's actually almost the same as a almost the same as the base and the anchor tag. So we just say site, and what it does is that it tells you that, okay, this, let me put a feature tag here, just a bit. It tells you that, okay, this particular text right here isn't actually from this website. is gotten from so website, and you're gonna wrap that around a base tag to tell them where this text is from. So I'm just gonna say lorem. I don't want it to be too much. I'll just say lorem 10 tab. So see that it gives it this styling, this italic styling, but this is actually italic. It looks like italic to just your users, people that are reading, but it's not italic. It's actually a site. So you're going to wrap your site in a link so that you know that okay, this guy didn't actually write this, he got it from so, and it's good to actually reference people that you got your tags from. So I'll just put this around, put this in a link, and I'll say href. Okay, so I don't want this link to actually be clickable, so I'm gonna put shift 3. That will give us a hashtag, and this simply means that the link isn't going anywhere. It's not gonna be actually a clickable link. And we also say target blank, and we close this. So close this and we paste this back. So we see that this is actually a link. So if we click it, it just refreshes, pretty much opens our website multiple times because I didn't make it to go anywhere. So you don't want you don't want to leave this alone. You actually want to put this in the link so that people know that you didn't get it yourself. You actually give some credits to the person that you got the idea from. So the next tag is a comment tag, which is actually pretty much what I've been using. I think that's the most used tag, and I've already explained that this is a comment. And the next tag after that, going to D, is the delete tag. So I'll just copy this. No, not paste it actually. Let me just copy this and paste it right here, and I call this delete tag. So delete tag just pretty much says that this text has been deleted. Don't even pay attention to it. And that you can actually write your delete tag in many ways. So I'll just say there are 3 ways actually. I'll just take 2. So I'll just say so for your delete tag it's del, and Visual Studio Code allows you to say tab. Say this text was deleted. And what that will do is that it will just strike your text, and you can do this. You can delete tag. You can actually say there's another way. I'll just do it twice. That's strike tag. Strike tag, and you say this strike tag was, this text was stricken. And we put this, we just delete this pretty much, and delete this also. We'll cut this so that we'll paste it back later, and we say strike and paste it back. So we just pretty much just gonna do the same thing, just slash it. So I'll put a line break here, so it pushes that down, and a horizontal line also. Yeah, so the other way to do this is actually called the S tag, and S is also like strike, but it's not strike, it's just S tag. So you just put S and it just gives you the same result actually. The next tag after the delete tag is called the details tag. Okay, I'm not going to talk about this tag yet because this tag is actually, you have to use it with another tag called the summary tag. So I'm going to do that later when we get to the summary tag. So I'll just leave the comments. Sorry. Oof. Yeah, I'll just leave these comments right here, and I'll come back to it. So we said detail tag, right? Detail tag. So we'll come back to this now. And after the detail tag is the div tag, and div stands for divide. So div tag is actually mostly used when you're dealing with CSS, and that's called the divide tag. So when you're doing CSS and you want to pick a particular content and style it to the way you want, you're gonna make use of div tags a lot. So I'll just say div. You're not gonna see any change actually. We'll just say this is divided. is pretty much just gonna be the same way you see your normal stuff. So just write it the same way, but when you give it a class or an ID, we'll talk about class and IDs when we actually get into CSS. When we give it a class or an ID, that's where you're going to be using div tags a lot. Still being on D, the next tag is a description tag, sorry, description list tag, and this is a tag that you have to use with other tags. So we see I'll just call this description list tag, description description list tag, and you're going to be making use of DL, which stands for description list. You're going to make use of DT, which specifies the description list, and you're going to make use of DD, which is description data. Hope that is actually clear. So coding, you actually have to be practical, so let's be practical. So first of all, we see DL, and inside our DL we're going to have a DT. Now let's call this first description, yeah, and we save this, and it's just going to pretty much just give us what this is, but we actually want to describe this entity. So maybe I'll just give it a colon, and I'll say DD. I'll just say lorem 15, no, not 25, 25 too much, 15, and here we have it. So this actually is pretty much like the block quotes. So you can actually, if you don't want to use this tag, but I advise you to use it for doing this the right way purposes. So you could just pretty much just write anything you want, and you're gonna give it a block quote. But this actually just does it for you. DL, DT, and DD. And here we have an horizontal tag, just to give this, yeah. Okay, so I just want to quickly do something so that you guys don't have to be looking at the bottom of the screen. I'll just push this up, and you don't actually have to pay attention to what I'm doing. We're going to be doing it pretty much more in CSS. So this style, yeah, it's going to tell me that error is expected, but yeah, Visual Studio Code always correcting if you're not done yet. And I'll just say 500 pixels. So you guys don't need to bother yourself with this. What this is, I'll explain it later in CSS video. So we reload, and you see that we have some gap here, so we can actually be looking at the top, not the bottom anymore. So I'll just let me just write more lists. Yeah, I'm sorry, let me do this and say this was twice. Actually, it happens waste time. I will say second and third description. Save and reload. Here we have it. You can actually underline this, and there's another text tag we're going to be looking at. So we see HR, so we have our horizontal line once more, and still being well skipped. We're done with the D tag. We're going to E, and the only E tag we're talking about is the emphasis tag. And we say comments, this is the emphasis tag. And we just call this emphasis tag. And to create the emphasis tag, what you're going to do is going to be writing EM. That's what you do to create the emphasis tag. Now we say this text is emphasized. Emphasized, yeah. So that's pretty much gives it that italic styling. Where is it? We also have an italic styling over here, so we have pretty much a lot of italic styling, but they're not called italic. Yeah, this is emphasis. So it pretty much just says, okay, this is important, so say also take a look at it and just HR. So we're going to the F tags, and the first F tag we're going to be having is the font tag, and this is also pretty much like the div tag in the terms of using it a lot in CSS. You are going to be styling your fonts with CSS, so to say font tag, but you can actually do that with HTML, and all you can do with HTML is pretty much change the size and the color. So put this font, I see tab, So we say let's just say color. Okay, you can't change the color. Oh, that's new. Seems like you can actually change the color. We have to use CSS. So I'll just pretty much say this is a font. There's a font, yeah. So when we do that, it just pretty much looks normal. So we can change the size. When we say font size equals, we can just put any random number we want, and when we do that, that's pretty much how it grows. But this is getting too much, so we just see 79. It's pretty much gonna look the same, because when you cross over 50, all the fonts are just gonna look the same. So we'll just say 2. Yeah, that's reduced. We say, so I just want this to be maybe pretty much 10. So we see that it's quite big. Yeah, 10. So you can change the number to whatever you want, and you can use CSS to change the color. And I do not actually want to go into CSS in this video. So that's the only F tag we have right now for beginning HTML. You don't want to bother yourself with all the 145 tags. If you actually learn this 50 plus or minus tags, you're actually going to be you're going to be on par with even the pros in HTML. I don't want this gap to be here. Okay, so the next tag is going to be H, and those are heading tags, and those are divided into 6. We have H1 to H6, and they just have pretty much different, just changing the size of everything that's right there. So we see heading tag. Let's not talk too much, so we'll just code it out. So the first heading tag is H1, so that's header 1, and when we press tab, I'll just pretty much say yeah, first header, and we just copy. No, let's not copy. Let's just say H2, second header, and we're gonna pretty much write that for pretty much all the headers. We have H3. I'll leave this, say H4 and H5, and last but not the least H6, and we just copy this. Paste. Oof, no, my bad. Let me close this down. Paste and paste. So first, second, we'll turn this to third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So we save and reload. So we'll just put it. So we see that we're gonna see that H1 is the first level header, so it's the biggest, and H6 is the smallest. 3, 2, 1, reload. So we just pretty much see that they decrease. And when you're actually writing a HTML semantics for a website, you pretty much want to stop in the third header, or just desperately just the fourth. You don't want to go to fifth and sixth, because they become less readable. So you just third and maybe just fourth. So that's it. Those are the heading tags. So the next tag is the next tag ought to be the HR tag, but we've pretty much made a lot good use of those tags, so we're gonna skip it. And now we're going to I, and there's gonna be the image tag. So I'll just say Control C, Control V, and I'll call this image tag. So puts in what am I saying? Uploading an image to your website is just pretty much the same with uploading an audio. So we're just going to follow the same process. And image, we say img to give us a source, and alt. So alt means if it's not in here, look for it in here. So but I don't usually use this alt, so I'll say you're going nowhere. So source, we go to our file explorer. I'll pretty much just get let me see, yeah, you can get your images from anywhere, even on the web. Okay. Oh, Ronaldo. So let's pretty much pick this Ronaldo image. And we say copy. We minimize this and we paste it right here. So when we save that and reload, we see a picture of Ronaldo. And we can actually make this the background image of something else, or we could change it, and that's gonna also be in CSS. But there's something we can actually do in HTML, and that's to change the width of the video of the image, sorry, and the height. So I'll just show you guys. Pretty much you don't want to change the height, because when you do, you're gonna distort the image, and we just it's gonna look ugly. So yeah, my god, this is too small. I see that's pretty ugly. So you have to be knowing when to change, when to do that. So better is still, you just want to leave your height in none. So that's just gonna come with the height the image came with. And yeah, picture of Ronaldo. You can change the width to whatever you want. So that's how you just pretty much imports an image. So Ronaldo. And next is still on I, is going to be the insert tag. And insert pretty much has the same function with underline. Just, for the sake of doing things the right way, we're gonna call it the insert tag. This is insert. So the insert tag is called ins. Press tab. Let's see what it does. We say this tag is inserted, and save, reload. It gives it that underline attributes. So pretty much the same with underline. So that's the insert tag. Next is the italic tag, which we have been using shadedly a lot. So we say tree italic tag. After the italic tag, we just give it I, and we say this. This text is italicized, and save and reload. It's actually italicized, so we're gonna give this a line break to push it down. We don't want it to be at the same line. Just say we're gonna give it a line break also, because the gap between here is quite small. So give it another line break and another horizontal line. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take away one. Now it looks way too big. Yeah. I'm gonna put a horizontal line here also. And the next tag is a K tag, and that's gonna be called a keyboard tag. So say keyboard tag, Control C, keyboard tag. Yeah. So basically what the keyboard tag does, you're not gonna see much of a difference in here, but yeah, what you're gonna be doing is gonna be telling the web browser when you actually want to upload your website, okay, yeah, this is a keyboard function, this is what you have to do, so and so. So let's not talk too much, and let's just type right. So we say I'll just pretty much say to copy so I said copy hold to copy just I'll just say control plus. So to do the keyboard tag, we say KBD keyboard tag. I'm gonna say CTRL. I will put plus outside because plus is not a keyboard tag, and we say KBD again. We say control plus C. So to copy, control plus C. And when we do that, it just puts control plus C in a different font style than this. So people may not actually recognize this, but the web browser recognizes this as a keyboard shortcut. So I'll just say HR. Okay, so the next tag is creating a list, and for us to create a list, we actually have to do some let's say a lot of stuff. It's not really a lot when you just put your mind to it. So this is just the list tag. So to create a list, we have two types of lists, and I'm going to give a tab right here, and I'll create another comment. So we have two types of list, and the first list we're going to create is the unordered list, and the second is the ordered list. So we just say unordered list. Yeah, and unordered list pretty much what's wrong? Pretty much just puts your list items in bullet points. So to create an unordered list, we're going to say ul unordered list, and to every list you create there has to be list items, li. So this is just pretty much what you have to do. So we just say first item, just copy this and just have maybe like three excuse me, we just have three of them items. So first, second, and third. So yeah, and if we save that and reload, we actually have them in bullets. So this is an unordered list for you. This is what you have to do, and we're gonna create the ordered list. And basically the ordered list just puts it in decimal values, such as your 1, 2, 3, and it just goes on like that. I'm just delete this ordered list. So for an ordered list, you're gonna have OL, and also you have to have list items. So I'll just I don't need to just copy this that I have right here and paste it right here. Yeah, so I'll leave I'll leave the horizontal tag also. Horizontal tag Nana HR, if you please. Thank you, Visual Studio Code. HR, no codes available, HR. So I'm gonna give some gap right here, and I refresh. See that gives it 1, 2, 3, while this one gives it bullet points. I can actually change this, and that'll be in CSS. You can change the list styles. So the next is M, and that's the mark tag. What do I take? Yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah, let me see, mark tag. And for us to do what the mark tag does, it's basically highlights a particular text if you want it to. So I'll just say this. I'm just gonna say, okay, I'll put up, let me write it. So mark tag is just mark. So we see this text is marked. Yeah, and you see that it highlights it yellow, or is this orange? I'm not really good with colors. Yellow, orange are the same. So you can actually change the color of this in your CSS, not in your HTML. And still under the M, what we're gonna have is the marquee tag. Yeah, that sounds like a very weird name, doesn't it? So we're gonna have the marquee tag, and basically you see some websites where you see some words just floating, going by, just moving to the left, moving to the right, whatever. And that's actually done with the marquee tag. Yeah. So it's just for scrolling effects, and I'll just say marquee behavior. You can give it a behavior, you can give it a direction. So I'll just say this text is moving. So if I refresh, we see that the text is actually moving to the left. So I can change the direction to the right if I want to, and it comes from the right. I can change it. I don't think. Let me just try something a bit crazy. So I'll say up, and it starts. Yeah, that works. So I'm not aware of this. That can go up and down actually. Okay, this is pretty cool. What behavior can we actually put here? So we say behaviors will be scroll. Scroll. Sorry. So that just pretty much just does it. Whenever we scroll, it just still does. So we don't want any behavior. We can say behavior none. You just keep moving. So we have the top, we have down, we have top, we have left, and we have right. So I'm just gonna basically just leave this in left. So I will comment that out. Should I? I'll just comment that out actually. We tag 1 goes to the left. Yeah, Maki tag 1 goes to the left. I'll copy this. I will comment this. Marquee tag 1 goes to the left. Okay, let me just pretty much just say it so we won't waste much time. So we can actually change, I'll just change this back to marquee tag. So you can change it, what do you want the behavior to be, what you want the direction to be, and we just put the text. So you said the text is moving to the left. You can change it like I did. I'll change it to the right. So it goes to the right. That's just pretty much the marquee tag for scrolling effects and so on. And the next tag we have is called the meter tag. So this is pretty much a tag that not much people know about, because not much people actually use it. It's not used frequently. Sorry. So to create a meter tag, what we have to do is we're just gonna say we'll just have a P, and P for paragraph. Okay, we've not even gotten there yet, so when we get there, so we say P for paragraph, and we just say score. And to create, we actually want to create a meter tag, and what that does is that it's just gonna give you just shows you your progress, or pretty much just something like that. So we say, what do we want the score to be? So for that we actually have to put meter, and this is not what I want. This is not what I want. I guess I have to type it myself. Like I said, many people don't use it, and even Visual Studio Code doesn't recognize it when you use tab. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna say meter, right? And we see, sorry, no meter. Oops, that's a mistake. Meter value. And we're gonna have 3 things right here. So I want you guys just to watch closely. We leave this. We say minimum. We leave this, and we say maximum. So basically, what we want is that a meter value out of 10. So the value should be, okay, we're going to rate it out of 10. The minimum value should be 0, and the maximum value should be 10. So that's pretty much it. We're giving it a 10 over 10. Hope you understand that. So the minimum value always has to be 0. Yeah, you can change your meter value, you can change your max value. So when we do that, we actually have a score, and this meter is actually full. If we change this to 9 over 10, see that it's actually 9. And we can actually say this to be 9 over 20, 9 over 40, whatever you want, and we're gonna say 39 over 40. I love coding. It's 9 over 40, so I'm just gonna basically just leave this in 10 actually. 10, and I will leave this in let's just say 7. Yep, 7 over 10. So we're gonna say HR again, and next tag we're gonna look at is the no break tag. So I've actually looked at the line break tag, and there's actually something called the no break tag, that if you don't want your tags to actually break, you want them just to be continue, you just in a straight line, I'm gonna say no break tag. So say no break tag, and for that we actually have to write no BR. So for the break tag you write BR, for the no break tag you write no BR. That isn't actually still used pretty much, so Visual Studio Code doesn't recognize it as no break tab. So we just say we have to write it ourselves, NOBR, and yeah, it actually closes it for us. So we just put some dummy text in, lorem tab, and it's just gonna keep on going and going and going and going and going. So if we do not put this no break tag, I don't even need to just put it here. You see that lorem actually follows the position of the other text. It just follows, it goes along with it. But yeah, we're learning, so no BR tag. Yeah, So just keeps on moving. Yeah, that's perfect. No BR tag. And we go down over here to say HR. So the next tag is pretty much just the paragraph tag, and yeah, I've used that already here. So I'll just copy this. I need to pick up the paste because of the time actually. Obviously, paragraph tag. So the paragraph tag isn't like your English paragraph that leaves that space you need. That's what the block quote or the description data actually does. So the paragraph tag just leaves a line in between. So I'll just say for the paragraph tag we just say p tab and we say lorem 10 tab, and that's just, you're not going to see any much text formats in this. It just gives us that line. So paragraph tags are usually when you want to write a lot of documents and you want to separate them. So you can use paragraphs, or you can even use the line break. But doing it the right way, you're gonna be basically using paragraphs. So that's the paragraph tag. And the next tag we're gonna be looking at is the we've looked at emphasis. Okay, pre tag. So that's pre is for pre-formatted tags. So we just copy this again. Yeah. Control C, Control V, and we say preformatted. Preformat. It does actually mean, but preformatted tag. And for that to happen, we have to write pre. So that's pre, and we're gonna say we'll just put some dummy text in this lorem 8, and there we have it. So we see that this shows us, it gives us a different font style, and what this actually means is that we have this is pre-formatted. It was formatted before even we created this website, so that was pretty what's pre-formatted supreme is. And the next tag we're going to be looking at is the progress tag. So as the name implies, progress, it just shows you your progress, and it's gonna look pretty much like the score tag. I said score, sorry, the meter tag. And yeah, let's just do that. We say progress tag. So for the progress tag, you actually have to write progress and full. So progress, thank you VS Code. And for that, you're gonna be assigning values to it, just like we did for the meter tag. So we'll just say value of 50 and max of 100. So for the progress tag, you don't actually have to be writing minimum, because it already knows that the minimum is 0. For something to be 100, it actually has to start from 0. So you see that we have 50 over 100, and we can say, you can change this to 30 or even 300. Just it's gonna max it out, because we said the max should be 100. So if you want, the max can be 1000. Yeah, so we're just gonna leave that. You can format it any way you like. And we have looked at the big tag, so let's look at the opposite of the big tag is the small tag. And like just the way the big turns fonts to actually be big, yeah, the small makes fonts small. So we're gonna say small tag. Excuse me. For the small tag, you are going to write fully small. I'll just say this text is small, and put a horizontal line right here. Yeah. So we see that this text is actually smaller than the usual font size, and if we look at this text, is big. Where do we have this text? Is big. Yeah, this is pretty bigger than the other font size. So that's the small tag. And the other tag I wanted to talk about was the details tag, and the details tag pretty much goes along with you using a tag called the summary tag. So what the let me just put this so before I continue. So what the detail tag does is that it gives you a drop down option, so you can have something like read more, and when you click it to actually show you what the more things to read. And that's pretty much used when you're making blogs, most especially where you don't want your web page to be crowded. People want to read it. So we'll just copy this and we say detail and summary tag. Detail and summary tag. So these two tags actually go together so that you can actually make it work. So the first thing we actually have to have is details. Thank you, VS Code. Details, and inside our details we're gonna have our summary. So we're gonna have summary, and now our summary is pretty much where we're going to write the text we want to appear here. So we can actually just say read more, and in our details tag we just have lorem tab now VS Code lorem tab and another lorem tab VS Code. Thank you. That's not what I want to type. We just put it twice. So when we reload we only have read more, but when we click this little play or just click read more, you pretty much just see that gives us that drop down menu. So I'm just gonna add a couple more. Okay, I'll just tap this down so that's let's add lorem tab again. So it's let it be much. What should I do with you, VS Code? Yeah, this is what I want. So so it just pretty much just hides everything in read more, and when you click read more you have a bunch of other content that you want to hide because it's too much, or you just want them to click on it. So we're gonna put a horizontal line after the detail. So click you can do that. What did I do? Okay, and the second to the last tag. Okay, we've not talked about quotation tag. Okay, I think I've pretty much messed up the alphabetical order. So we're going to talk about the quotation tag. Let's do this. So quotation tag, and the quotation tag just pretty much puts your stuff in quotations, and all you have to do is just press Q. So instead of you writing the quotations yourself, you could just say Q tab, and I'll have some dummy text in here. And when we reload, we actually see that. Okay, I wrote read more twice. I'm coming. Yeah, I don't need to. Yep, and I'll put a BR tag. Okay, so I can push this down. So yeah, we pretty much see these quotations right here and ending quotations right here. So that's what it does. It just pretty much just put your work in quotation marks. Okay, we're getting there, guys. We're almost at the end of the video. Or we say HR and we say just pretty much works like the audio tag, the same semantics, except from it's just video. So we'll say video. Okay, let me give it a comment first. Copy, paste, and I'll change this to video tag. So for the video tag we say video, and we're not going to use source yet. We can actually just delete this, and we say video controls, and we close this and we open a new tag, source, and src equals, and when we're done we say width to be, just say 200 pixels. Like I said earlier, you don't need to bother yourself with all these measurements right now. when we get to CSS, we'll actually explain what these are. So to get my source, let me just close this. I'll go to my file explorer. And just go grab a video. Okay. Let's should load up quickly. Okay, so this is actually the video I want, and I'll just copy this. As some computers allow you to copy as path, that's fine. Copy as path, all the same. And I'll paste that source right here. So there we have it. We have video controls, source, width of the video, and yeah. So let's save that and reload. Right here we actually have the video. You can listen to it full screen, mute, change the playback speed. Pretty much just works like the audio. Okay, I actually want to reduce this. It's quite big, so I'll just change the width to, let's just say 150. No, not 100, 150, and I reload. Oh, it doesn't even change the width. I'll try something a bit crazy here. Yeah, okay, I guess you can change the width of the video, but you just leave it at 200. Okay, so the last tag we have today is actually supposed to be in the P category, but I just saved it for last, and it's called the pre-formatted tag. So I'll copy my comments and I'll say pre-formatted tag. Yeah, so we just pretty much just says that this is a pre-formatted text, like something that you have written before and you changed it, somehow like an edited text. I'll just put a HR here, and for the pre-formatted tag you just write pre, and like I said, if you're using Visual Studio Code you can put in tab. I'll put some dummy text in here, lorem 10, so it won't be too much, and here we have it. Just gives it that different font style similar to this. Yeah, so it just shows that this is a pre-formatted text, and I'll put my final HR. Okay guys, we've come to the end of today's video, and the plus or minus 50 HTML tags, we've not actually used them to up to 50. If you want, you can go ahead and count these, but I'm gonna divide the class into two, and we've done the first part, and the second is where we're going to be talking about inputs, all HTML input types. Those are another type of set of tags, and in that video we're going to be using it to create a form, and we're going to be creating a table. So guys, stick around. When the video is released, I'll be next week again, 7 days exactly. Go ahead and click on the video, watch it for your own benefit so you can learn more. Excuse me. So if you come to the end of this video, it was a pretty long one, so I thank you guys so much. Please help, like the video and subscribe. Comment box is open. If you have anything to say, you can just leave it right there, and I'm still going to put the link to my previous video in this, so that people that haven't watched the previous video can go back to watch this before come here. So once again, thank you guys so much. I remain the Code Kraken. Thank you.